She was the Iron Queen of beauty, until the world she built vanished overnight. 22 years in the industry. She climbed from product manager to CEO and turned a dying brand into a $1 billion beauty empire. A startup called Glow blew up on social media in 1 year, stealing 30% of their market. They used TikTok and influencers, while Ella stuck to old-school magazine ads.
Vivian, you've done so much for this company, but we need a new direction.
Vivian, your resume is outstanding, but boards want someone younger right now.
45 years old, she gave her whole life to this industry, and younger was all it took to end it. All the lights of Manhattan are on, except hers. The first month after being fired, she stayed home day and day. No makeup, no meetings, just ice cream and silence. Only her dog stayed by her side. Month 2, she started applying for jobs. She toned down her resume, tried to look less intimidating, but no one wrote back. Month 3, an email from Ella Cosmetics landed in her inbox. Not a job offer, an invitation to their Silver Intern program. Her replacement was rubbing it in. Her savings were running out. The mortgage was due. Her dog needed food. Pride doesn't pay the bills. She stared at that email for hours. He thought she'd never say yes. He thought he'd broken her. But he was wrong. This wasn't surrender. It was a new start. She was going back to the company she built. Not as CEO was in Inchan, and no one had any idea what was coming. She built this billion-dollar company. Today, she's back to clean its toilets. On her first day, she dressed for dignity. No jewelry, no bold lipstick. Just a clean uniform, and pride she refused to let anyone take from her. They put her in janitorial, wiping desks, mopping floors, cleaning restrooms, and right in front of her was her old office, now occupied by the man she'd mentored. She had hired him when he was 31, nervous and barely able to speak. Now he stood in her office, looking down at her, holding a mop.
Vivian, welcome back. Which team are you on?
Janitor.
Well, thanks for your hard work then.
The mop felt heavier than she remembered. The humiliation burned deeper. But she didn't break. This wasn't the end. It was just the first step of getting everything back. The job wasn't hard on her body. It was torture on her pride. Everyone who once bowed to her now pretended she was invisible. Whispers followed her down every hallway. She thought of the orchid Jeremy gave her. It bloomed for 3 years. Then she left, and it died. Just like everything she built. At lunch, she sat alone with a dry sandwich. Jeremy walked over with his fancy salad and sat right down across from her.
How are you holding up, Vivian? Let me know if you need anything.
I'd like to visit the R&D lab.
Why?
Just curious.
You're a janitor. You don't have clearance.
I'm the former CEO.
Keyword, former.
The sandwich was dry, but she barely tasted it because one thought was burning in her mind. Glow's formulas weren't similar. They were identical. Someone had stolen her life's work, and she was going to prove it. Their formulas weren't similar. They were identical. This was no coincidence. Same ingredients, same strength, even the same bottle factory. This wasn't innovation. It was theft, plain and simple. Glow's founder was her old assistant. She'd had access to every single formula. Every idea Vivian had rejected, she'd stolen to build her billion-dollar brand. She needed proof, but as a janitor, she had no clearance, no authority. She'd have to find another way. That night, she started the janitor's diary. Not for sympathy, for the truth. Every detail, every secret, every lie. No one suspected that a Jamnan's notebook held the power to take down an empire. And this was only the beginning. She volunteered for the night shift. No one had any idea why.
Fine. Night shift, extra $1 an hour. Start tomorrow.
Thank you.
The whole floor was empty. Lights flickered on one by one as she walked. Every secret she needed was right here, waiting. An assistant had forgotten to lock the cabinet, and inside, Glow's confidential formulas, word for word, identical to Ella's. This was the proof she needed. The floor was already spotless, but she mopped it anyway. She had to look like she belonged, like she was just doing her job. In the elevator mirror, she stared at herself. You're crazy, she thought, but no. The crazy ones were the people who stole her life's work and called it innovation. The city never sleeps, but I'm so tired of watching it. She created an anonymous email under the name Truth. No name, no trail. If they found out who sent it, they'd call it corporate espionage. She knew every board member's email by heart. She sent them all the proof. Side-by-side formulas, lab photos, everything. The thief was their former employee. One click. That was all it took. No going back. No second thoughts. Her heart was racing, but she didn't regret a single thing. Then she erased everything. History, accounts, every trace. By morning, it would be like none of it ever happened. 5 years ago, she'd stood in her corner office as CEO, looking at this same skyline. Back then, she was the queen. Now she was a janitor. But what she was doing now, it mattered more than any title ever could. One anonymous email, and the whole company blew up. Yeah, I'm on my way. The board met all morning. Jeremy knew every word was true, and he had zero glee who sent it.
Heard someone reported formula theft? Who? No idea. Anonymous email.
The water was cold, but she was burning inside. For the first time in months, truth was finally moving forward. By nightfall, the story was everywhere. Glow's secret was out. And this was only the beginning. She stroked her dog and whispered that maybe she could get her life back. But the hunt for the whistleblower, it was already underway. 2 weeks of investigation, and the proof was undeniable. She denied everything, but the IP records didn't lie. Glow's products were pulled, and their stock crashed overnight. Jeremy was next. As CEO, he was responsible for protecting the company's IP. The board didn't buy his excuses. He was suspended immediately.
Vivian, it was you. The email.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Stop playing dumb!
I'm not playing, I'm just a janitor.
You're better than me.
I'm not better. I'm just more honest.
He walked away, broken and humiliated. But this wasn't the end. The company was shaken, the throne was empty, and everyone was about to remember who built it all. The board members who'd fired her, they showed up at her door, begging. Men who'd spent decades in corner offices squeezed into her tiny kitchen, surrounded by mops and bleach. They had no idea how to act.
Vivian, we want you back. As our CEO.
Back? But you said I was too old. Too out of touch.
A quiet we were wrong couldn't give her back those months of humiliation. It was too late for apologies. She turned down the job everyone would kill for, not because she didn't want it, because she didn't need it anymore. She'd found something bigger than power. She'd never give them a second chance to throw her away. Power came and went, but truth and the quiet peace of doing what's right, that was hers forever. And this was only the start. She didn't call it the ex-CEO diary. She named it the janitor's diary. Her first post got only 100 views. No likes, no comments. Just like the quiet, invisible days she'd been living. Her second post got comments. People asked if she'd really been a CEO. She said yes. No fanfare, no drama, just the truth. 1,000, 10,000, 100,000 views. People didn't love her for her old title. They loved her for the truth of falling and getting back up. She wrote late into the night, with her dog asleep on her lap. Every hard day she'd lived through became something worth sharing. No one reading her posts knew she'd once run a billion-dollar company. And this was only the beginning. The best chapter of her life was just being written. One post, 100,000 shares, and everything changed. The comments blew up. People shared their own stories of being remoted, of feeling ashamed, of staying silent. She wasn't alone. None of them were. She cried as she read them, not from sadness, from relief. She'd spoken her truth, and suddenly, thousands of people didn't feel so alone anymore. A New York Times columnist shared her post. Overnight, she went from 50,000 followers to 500,000. Her story was everywhere. Reporters flooded her inbox, begging for interviews. She said no to all of them. She hadn't told her story to get famous. She told it to be honest. The city looked the same. The lights were just as bright, but she was different. She'd lost her title, her office, her empire, but she'd found something stronger, and this was only the beginning. She walked into the courtroom in her janitor uniform. No suit, no title, just the truth.
Mrs. Sterling, what is your current occupation?
Janitor.
The prosecution asked if Chloe had access to the core formulas. Vivian said yes, and she had the records to prove it. Every login, every file, every timestamp.
Are you lying out of jealousy for her success?
I don't envy her. She stole my life's work, and I hate her for it. But hate isn't a lie. Hate is the truth.
The verdict was final. $50 million in damages. Her company was finished. As she was led away, she paused beside Vivian, but she had nothing left to say. The truth had won. But this wasn't the end of her story. It was just the first page of something new. Something bigger than any title or empire she'd ever built. After the trial, Chloe walked up to her. No makeup, no designer clothes, just an orange jumpsuit and regret.
Vivian, I'm sorry. Sorry doesn't give me back my formulas.
She knew it wouldn't fix anything, but she said it anyway. Some apologies aren't for the other person. They're for you. Vivian thought back to her first day. Ponytail, backpack, fire in her eyes. She told Viviana to call her Chloe, and she had. The officers led her away. It was over. All the ambition, all the betrayal, all the stolen success. It all ended right here. She stepped outside into the sunlight. The city was loud and alive. They'd both survive this, but nothing would ever be the same again. And for the first time in a long time, that felt okay. Her janitor diary caught a publisher's eye, and everything changed again.
Your story deserves to be published.
I'm not a writer.
You're a storyteller.
The book was called The Janitor's Diary. It sold like wildfire, not because it perfectly written, because it was real. Readers wrote to her, saying her story gave them courage. She read those letters and thought about the days she'd almost given up too. She kept every letter in an old dog treat tin of creams. He couldn't read, but he knew they mattered, and he guarded them like they were his own. From CEO to janitor to bus showing author, she'd lost everything and built something new, something truer. And this was still just the beginning. Jeremy was fired. For good. The throne he'd stolen wasn't his to keep. He carried his whole office out in one box. And there she was, holding her mop, right where he'd left her.
It was you, the email.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Stop pretending. You're better than me.
I'm not better. I'm just more honest.
Watching him leave, she thought of her old self, the woman who'd sat in that office, thinking she was unstoppable. He got in his car and drove away. No fanfare, no goodbye, just a quiet, humbling exit. She walked back inside and picked up her mop. She'd learned the truth at last. No one is invincible. But the truth? It always wins, and her story was far from over. They came back. This time, not to beg for forgiveness, to beg for a leader. This time, they didn't demand. They asked. They wanted her to pick the next CEO.
I recommend myself.
But you said you'd never come back.
I said that. But now, I want to come back.
What changed your mind?
Because being a janitor is really hard work.
No fine print, no power plays. She wasn't coming back for the title. She was coming back to do the work, to do what's right. She thanked the mop that had been with her through it all. It had seen her at her lowest and helped her find her way back. And when she walked back into that corner office, she'd never been stronger. She was CEO again, not because they handed it back, because she'd earned it. She came back with a new team, new rules, and a lesson no one else had learned. Her first 3 moves: publish core ingredients, open internships to every age, and give Janers full access to R&D.
This will drive costs through the roof!
Cost isn't the problem. Trust is.
You can put a price on ingredients. You can't put a price on trust. Not from customers, and not from your own people. She turned every hard lesson into something better for everyone who came after her. The empire was hers again, but this time, it was built on truth, and that was only the beginning. No one expected the star of this launch to be a janitor. Her name was Maria. She'd cleaned their halls for 20 years. Today was her first time ever in the spotlight.
I used to just mop floors. But Vivian said everyone has a story.
No celebrities, no influencers. Just one woman telling the truth. And everyone in that room was crying. The speech went viral everywhere. Because everyone knows the best marketing is always the truth.
Vivian, thank you for seeing me. You've always been seen. No one ever told you.
No actors, no scripts. Just the real people who keep this company running. No celebrities, no fancy lines. Just honest eyes. They said they work here. And they're proud of it. 24 hours, 5 million views. Sales up 30%. This wasn't marketing magic. This was the power of being real. She looked out the window. Central Park was green again. It had been 1 whole year. She was CEO again. But she wasn't the same woman she'd been before. Falling to the bottom had taught her what mattered most. Trust. Respect. Seeing every single person. And this was only the beginning. Maria got a promotion. After 20 years of mopping floors, she finally had an office of her own. Her job was to listen to all the voices no one had ever bothered to hear. People stopped by all day, saying things they'd never dare say to a manager.
Vivian, I used to be scared to speak up. Thought I'd get fired. Well, the office coffee is really bad. You can speak up now.
And Vivian actually fixed it. New beans, new machine. A tiny thing, but everyone felt it. Small changes add up. Vivian knew everything happening in her company now. Because the people on the ground, they always know the truth. It started with a cup of coffee, with one person being seen, and that's how a company truly changes, not from the top down, from every single voice finally being heard. Her janitor's diary was translated into 12 languages. It traveled all around the world.
I was a CEO too. Then I got demoted to receptionist. What did you do? I wrote a diary, but I never published it. Why not? I was too ashamed.
Vivian told her the truth. Failure isn't shameful. Lying is. Hiding who you really are is. After the signing, she walked through the old streets of Paris and thought about how far she'd come. From mopping hallways in Manhattan to book signings in Paris, from a Janet no one would look at to a voice millions looked up to. She'd come so far, and the road ahead was only just beginning. Chloe's case was closed, and from prison, she sent Vivian a letter. Her company was gone, sold off for parts. Her handwriting was still neat, just like Vivian remembered. She said she was sorry, not sorry for stealing. Sorry she never had the courage to admit it. Vivian never wrote back. Regret was Chloe's burden. Forgiveness was a choice, and she wasn't ready to give it. She put the letter down next to Jeremy's apology. Both thieves, both liars, both just people from her past. The drawer clicked shut. All the betrayal, all the anger, all the mess of the past, it was locked away. She didn't look back. Her life was moving forward. The company's numbers were back, not from flashy marketing, from doing one thing right. Real products, real ads, real people, no celebrities, no filters, and customers could feel the difference.
Mrs. Sterling, how do you feel about competitors copying your formulas? They copy because they have nothing of their own. We do, so we have nothing to fear. Do you hate Chloe Chen? No. Hating her won't change anything.
The reporter said she'd let it go, but she corrected her. She hadn't let go. She was just moving forward, and those words went everywhere. She'd fallen all the way to the bottom and climbed all the way back, and she never once looked back, because the only direction that matters is forward, and her story was far from over.
A letter arrived from Chicago, with an invitation no one expected. His name was Jack, Maria's grandson. He was 20, in community college, and he wanted to learn marketing.
Vivian asked if he wanted to be a janitor like his grandma.
He said no, but he respected it. More than anything.
On his first day, he wore a crisp white shirt, pressed perfectly flat. His grandma had ironed it for him. She could see the fire in his eyes, young ambition, bright, hungry, and ready to work. From his grandma mopping the halls to him sitting at a marketing desk, 2 generations, 1 company, and proof that when you see people, they can go further than anyone ever imagined. And an unexpected call on a quiet, rainy afternoon. It was Jeremy. He'd found a sales job at a small company, and he was calling to say thank you.
I didn't hold back. You just weren't worth it.
For not ruining me completely. You're still as direct as ever.
Honesty doesn't hurt people. Lies do.
She thought back to his first interview, nervous, fumbling, barely able to speak. So many years had passed, and nothing had turned out the way anyone expected. A long silence. Then the line went dead. No goodbye, no hard feelings. Just over. She didn't care where he went or how he was doing. Some people are just chapters in your story. And this chapter was closed. Her eyes were already on what came next. Their new product launched. Its name was Origin. And it was 100% theirs. 2 years, 1,000 experiments, a brand new active ingredient. No copies, no shortcuts, just hard work.
We did it. We actually did it. It's good. You did it.
Spring was in full bloom outside. The lotion had a soft citrus scent, and it took her back, to a conversation years ago. Chloe had wanted this scent once. Vivian had said it was too risky. Now she'd made it herself. Risk wasn't the mistake. Being too afraid to try was. All the risks she'd once been too afraid to take, she was taking them now. She'd lost everything and built something better. And this was only the first bloom of spring. They were named Best Employer of the Year, not for the biggest salaries, for the most respect.
Mrs. Sterling, how did you build this culture? It's not my achievement, it's theirs. The rule was simple. Respect your people, and they'll respect your company. It was basic truth, and most companies still didn't get it.
The front row wasn't filled with executives. It was janitors, receptionists, interns, out of uniform, in their own clothes, bright, colorful, and proud. She looked out at them and smiled. This was what a company should be. Not titles, not hierarchies, just people. She climbed back from rock bottom, and instead of hoarding power, she'd given respect to everyone. It was the lesson she'd learned the hard way, and it would carry this company further than any prophet ever could. Her second book was out. It was called Mop and Crown.
Did you write about yourself this time?
A little.
How?
Honestly.
A reader wrote to say her book had given her the courage to quit a job she hated. Vivian wrote back asking what she was doing now, and the answer made her smile. She sent a photo of her new office with an ocean view right outside. She said Vivian had done this, but Vivian knew the truth. She wrote the same line in every signed copy. You deserve to do what you love. Love matters more than money. Always. From writing about her own fall to lifting up strangers, from being invisible to inspiring millions, she'd come so far. And the best part? She was just getting started. A year in, Jack pitched an idea no one saw coming.
No actors, just real Janners. Their faces, their hands, their voices.
Do it.
There was no script, just the truth. Maria stood in front of the camera and told them about her 20 years here. The ad went viral overnight. No special effects, no celebrities, just truth. And nothing hits harder than that. Jack got promoted to marketing supervisor. He showed his grandma first. She called Vivian to say thank you. But Vivian knew the truth. He'd earned every bit of it, from nervous intern to confident leader, from invisible janitor to the face of the company. When you see people, they grow. And this was only the beginning of something so much bigger. Chloe was out of prison. She wrote to Vivian, asked to meet. They met at a corner cafe. She looked older, thinner, worn down. Nothing like the sharp, ambitious girl Vivian had once known.
I'm sorry I stole your formulas. I never should have done it. Good that you know. Can you forgive me? No, but I don't hate you.
She cried. Vivian didn't comfort her. Forgiveness isn't a single sentence. It's a road, and Chloe was still walking it.
Vivian, do you still have that mop? I do. I'd like to see it next time.
Watching her leave, Vivian thought of her first day, the fire in her eyes. It was still there, just different now. They'd both come so far, and the road ahead was still long. At 60, she stepped down as CEO, became chairwoman of the board. She stepped back, let the younger team call the shots. She wasn't front and center anymore, but she was always there.
When will you retire? When the Janners don't need me anymore.
Same office, same view of Central Park, a new orchid on the windowsill. She watered it every day. It was alive, and that was enough. The janitors didn't need her for anything, but they knew she was there, and that was all that mattered. From founder to janitor to chairwoman, she'd 100 lives, and she'd learned the truest lesson of all. What matters isn't the crown, it's the truth. and the people you see along the way, and that would live on long after her. Maria's grandson, Jack, took over a key role at Ella Cosmetics, the new marketing director. She skipped all fancy marketing tricks and gave him the single most important lesson of all.
Never forget the janitors.
I won't.
Vivian trusted him completely.
He grew up watching his grandma work as a janitor. This mop was her crown, and now it belonged to him. The brand she built from the ground up was still standing, and it would stay that way for years to come. No matter high her title rose, the days she spent mopping floors never faded from her memory. Titles change. Power passes hands. But kindness and respect for ordinary people will always live on here. I moved to quiet Maine by the sea, and I brought my old mop with me. Lise. Others laughed it off, but it's a reminder of every humble cleaning day I lived through. Every sunrise lets me look back on my life. CEO, janitor, writer, retiree. I chose every step. Old stories fade away. All I feel now is gratitude for being alive.
Aren't you afraid of upsetting people?
I am. But I still have to write it.
Readers told me they stopped buying fake beauty goods, but I told them they found clarity on their own. The old box overflowed, so I bought another. I never wiped away my late dog Cream's fur stuck on the lid. Chloe sent another letter. She worked at a flourisher shop and finally understood what authenticity truly meant.
You've put on some weight. Living by the sea makes that inevitable. You taught Jack so well. He earned everything himself. You're the best person I've ever met. Not the best, just still here.
A package arrived from Chloe, holding a painting of a mop labeled Crown. She finally grasped the core lesson Vivian lived by. She hung the painting right next to her real mop, took a photo and posted online. It blew up again, yet fame no longer mattered to her. Viral fame meant nothing to her now. All that mattered was staying true, staying here, at peace by the sea. Jeremy was dying. His son called, begging Vivian to come see him one last time.
I'm sorry I didn't help you back then.
You couldn't have.
You don't hate me?
No.
No hatred, no forgiveness. It was just over. A lifetime of grudges closed for good. The old mop was worn out, but she could never throw it away. It had walked every step of her life with her. Maria and Jack came with sunflowers. Her story went viral again, but fame meant nothing. All that mattered was she was still here, still smiling. Jack asked if she missed being CEO. She said no. She'd found a better job, being herself. The end.